Okay, before we go into this session, right, for Workday, you don't need to have any prerequisites, okay? However, if you have work experience, that is really an added advantage, okay? So we are going to cover these concepts. You might ask, like, hi, how these concepts going to be useful for us, like for hiring or for recruitment or for payroll or whatever it is, right? See, if you want to construct a building, right, you need to have a strong base. Am I right? Guys, you can interact with me, like, anytime you have a query or anything like that, you can interact with me.
Get you what you have said. Can you repeat it once again?
So if you, for the workday, you don't need to have any prerequisites. But for you to master in any particular module, right, you need to have the knowledge of this workday core concepts. Okay. So let me give you a scenario. Let's say you are building a, you're actually constructing a building. Okay. For that, you need to have a strong base, right?
Yeah.
So that base is these concepts, the functional concepts, and then you can master on various modules. So we are going to cover the payroll module. So for you to understand the payroll module, you need to understand various modules, okay, like these type of modules, especially compensation and the integrations. Okay, guys, that's why we are going to cover these concepts like core concepts and navigation basics, organizations and workday, staffing models, compensation, business processes, security groups, okay,
Mhm.
report writing, calculated fields, EIBs, core connectors, and payroll. So you might ask, like, hi guy, we are not from the technical. Let me ask you this: how many of you guys are from the technical side?
I am from the technical side.
That's great. However, right, you don't need to know or you don't need to have any technical knowledge. Okay. All you need to know is like a couple of languages, and we are going to guide you on that. Okay. Excuse me, guys. So, coming to the demo, right, we are going to cover the core concepts like business objects. What is business objects? What are custom labels? What is business navigation? Organization types, supervisory organizations. So I don't want to explain each and every concept, guys. Like, I don't want to confuse you any, but lot of you guys from Cognizant, we have a few trainees before from the Cognizant, and they are very well settled right now in the workday. I can, you know, um, but let me ask you, like, what do you know about the workday?
Workday
Anyone
is
can answer.
hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's an ERP tool. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, which a single tool will work on all the areas of the company. Like we can use this for all the areas. Like coming to recruitment, we can use this for all the process of recruitment, like payroll and for recruitment, inside recruitment, everything. And coming
Exactly.
to finance and everything, the single tool will work on everything.
Exactly. Correct. See, Workday is a cloud-based application, guys. That means you don't have to install. And the beauty of the Workday is you don't need to worry about maintaining the database like other ERPs. So this is an added advantage and the cost effectiveness. Like our friend said, like, it covers all the needs of the company. You don't need to worry about installing or buying any other ERPs. However, some companies actually use other ERPs as long as with the Workday. So for that purpose, we have integrations. Okay, we can connect to any application through the integrations. Okay, but before we go to the integrations, right, guys, we need to cover these core concepts and navigation basics, organizations, compensation, business process, staffing models. So you guys are from the most of the guys from the recruiting background, right? You need to understand the concept of, like, how the staffing models works, how the recruiting works, how to create the job profiles, how the compensation works, and how these all things going to be the input for the payroll. Okay, let me give
Understood.
you let me give you an example, like, so like I said, right, you need a strong basics for to master any module. See, we are going to cover organizations and Workday. These things are the basic things because you are building, you taking the raw data from the company, okay, and you are putting this data into a meaningful way, into a hierarchical, in a systematic way, okay. What's the purpose of putting the data in a systematic way? Because it makes easy. Am I right? Because if you have everything in place, right, it is for you guys, makes easy to work on anything, like for recruiting, for the compensation, for the payroll, or for the security, or for the integrations, right? Let me give you a brief understanding of the Workday. See, here we are talking about the supervisory organizations. Anyone know what is a supervisory organization? See, guys, supervisory organization is nothing but we are putting the data in a meaningful hierarchical structure. Okay? Okay. Let me give you an example. Let's say Microsoft. Okay, we have a Microsoft in multiple nations, right? Multiple countries.
Correct.
So we are going to put in a hierarchical structure. Let's say Microsoft USA is the superior supervisory organization, and Microsoft India, Microsoft Canada, Microsoft Germany, Microsoft UK, and all other going to be the subordinate organizations. So what we are doing here, it is like we are creating a structure. Let's think like we are building an automobile, a car. Okay, first we are building the outer structure of the car. Then we are going to install the engine and the other accessories, right? Then only we can say that it is a car, right? Without everything, if you miss an engine, if you miss a steering wheel, it makes no sense if I call that as a car, right? So here, we are building the structure here, first of all. Then what we are doing is like, when we create the organizations, then we are going to create the job profiles, right? Because let's say, Nagarjuna, may I know your job title?
What, sir?
May I know your job title, your role in your company?
I am working as assistant professor in engineering college, sir. Malayan Lakshmi Engineering College.
Sure. So you are an assistant professor, right?
Yes, sir.
So what is that? That is a job title, right?
Yes, sir.
That is a job profile.
Yes, sir.
So whether you're an IT recruiter or a non-IT recruiter, you're an assistant professor, whatever they are, right? We are creating those job profiles. Okay. Then once we create the job profiles, obviously we need to tell the people like, hey guys, this is your salary. This is the package that you're going to get, right?
Yes, sir.
Exactly. So that's where we're going to cover the compensation. Okay.
Okay.
Once we create the structures, once we define the staffing model in the sense like, we have a couple of staffing model, guys, like, position management and job management. Let me elaborate those two things. Okay. So position management, when I say position management, you have to define the quantity. Okay. When I say job management, you don't have to define the quantity. Guys, be honest with me. Do you guys understand when I say these two things?
Yes, sir.
When I say position management, you have to define the quantity. When I say job management, you don't have to define the quantity. Do you guys understand what that means?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. But let me explain this in a lamest example. Okay, let's say Nagarjuna having a party. Okay, they're going to invite family and friends, but they're not sure how many people they're going to come or they're going to get, right? So they're going to they have an estimation like 100 to 150 people going to come to that party. So they're going to make the preparations to the up to the max number, which is 150, right?
Correct.
Okay. Now let's take other scenario. Nagarjuna knows that he's going to invite only his father and mother. Okay. Now he knows the exact quantity, right? The first scenario, he don't know the exact quantity. he have an estimate, like, it could be 100, it could be 110, it could be 70, whatever the number it is. He don't know exactly. Okay. When you don't know the exact number, you are going to opt for the job management. When you know the exact number, like he knows that he's going to invite his mom and his dad. He knows the quantity, which is 2, right? Then you're going to opt for the position management. So what I'm trying to say, guys, is here, when you know the number, like, when you know the number, like, you know the number, okay, I'm going to hire 10 people, I'm going to hire 15 people, then you're going to opt for the position management. For the job management, the best example for the job management is the campus placement, right? When companies go to the campus placement, they don't know how many people they are going to hire. Am I right? But they have a rough figure. So in that case, they're going to hire in that case, they're going to use the job management. Guys, don't worry about the deep knowledge. I just want to introduce the concepts here, that what we are going to cover. Okay. Okay, so we are going to cover the staffing models. We are going to cover the job profiles, and we are going to cover how to create the positions and how to create the compensation. And let me explain what is the business process and the security groups. Business process is nothing but having a logical steps, a series of steps. See, let me ask you this, right? You have a company and you have 1,000 of employees. Let's say a couple of 2,000 or 3,000 employees. If you want to hire 2,000 employees manually, is it feasible?
No.
So you need to have some type of automation, right?
Yeah.
That's where the business process comes in place. Okay, guys? Okay, in the business process, so you understand the basic concept of the business process, right? We are automating the tasks. That's it, simple. Okay? Now, okay, that's fine. That's great. Like, we are automating everything. But someone have to overview that process, right? Because let's say, for example, Sean and Prerna are the HRs, okay? I'm the non-IT guy. Can I hire a person? I'm a non-IT guy. I'm just a front desk guy. Okay?
No.
You both are from the HR. You both are the HR guys. And can I hire anyone?
No.
No, right? So someone has
No.
to overview that, right? Who can, what they can do, right?
Yeah.
It is the job of Sean and Prerna to hire the people.
Right.
So
Correct.
that's where the security groups comes in place. Okay? So the security groups going to define what you can do and what you can do. Okay, guys?
Okay.
Guys, if you miss anything, if you get confused, if you have any query, please interrupt me. I'm more than happy to guide you. Okay?
Sure.
Okay. Let's go to the, see, I'm just only defining the things, like, I'm not explaining in a deep way, like, let's go to the next one. So here it is a report writer. Okay. Every company have a lot of data, right?
Yes.
And we need to retrieve the data, right?
Yeah.
So most of the ERPs, you need to write a query. Okay, you need to use the query language. You need to access the database to write the queries to extract the data. Am I right?
Yes.
However, in Workday, right, we don't need to write the query, or we don't need to use any language, any query language or any coding language to retrieve the data from the database. Okay, that's the beauty of the thing. We have a lot of fields already defined by the Workday. We can just easily use that fields. Let's say if I want the first name, I'm going to select the first name. If I want the last name, I'm going to select the last name. If I want the age, gender, dependents. When I say dependents, like your spouse, your children, your family, like and if I want to know who is your manager, what is your date of birth, what is your compensation, what is your job profile, all these fields are already predefined by the Workday. So you just need to use those fields. That is for to extract the data. Guys, do I make sense?
Yeah.
However, let's say, for instance, I'm your client. I'm saying like, you have already all the predefined fields. That's great. That's beautiful. But if I want some information that doesn't cover these fields, then what should I do? Okay, I'm going to ask you like, I need some information that doesn't cover these fields that was predefined by the Workday. Then what I'm going to do? Then what you guys going to do?
Customization.
Yeah, how are you going to do the customization? By using the calculated fields. Guys, here you are not writing any code or any query language or anything like that. You are just extracting the data by predefined fields. If the client requires a data that doesn't cover by these predefined fields, then you are going to use the calculated fields. Okay, we have a lot of calculated fields. By using those calculated fields, we can extract the data. This is simple, guys, like using the logic, if else conditions, true false conditions, some basic logical conditions. By using those logical conditions, you can extract any data from the database, from the data source. Okay, don't worry about the calculated fields, guys. I'm going to explain each and every calculated fields in the future sessions. Okay, so far, any queries? That's great. So I'm doing my job right. Okay, now this covers the functional side. See, the tricky part is the reporting and the calculated fields are both part of functional side and the technical sides. Yeah, go ahead. Okay, so report writing and the calculated fields are both part of functional and the technical. Okay, now see, guys. Sorry, Nagarjuna. Yes.
మీరు వెళ్ళొస్తారు
Okay,
ఇంకా
guys.
కొంచెం
Nagarjuna, please mute yourself. Guys, any queries so far? Okay.
Go.
Now let's go to the technical part. Here in technical part, which we call as integrations. In integrations, we are going to cover Eibs, code connectors, and the studio integrations. However, we are not going to cover the studio integrations. Why? Because it is little bit more complicated and you need to have at least 3 years experience to work on the studio integrations. Okay, let me explain Eibs and the code connectors. Eibs. We have an inbound integration and we have an outbound integration. What is an inbound integration? If we need to get the data from the third-party application, we are going to use the inbound integration. That's why we call inbound. Okay. Here also, guys, you don't need to use the code. However, as per the requirement, you need to have the knowledge of XML and XSLT. Those two languages are basic minimal languages, and you can learn within 2 weeks at a free of cost from www.3schools.org. Okay, guys. And if you don't understand those concepts, I can guide you on that. Don't worry about that. However, you don't need to have a lot of experience or a lot of coding. And without also coding, you can master Eibs and core connectors. Okay. Before we go to the core connectors, let me explain the outbound integrations. So inbound integration. So what is the inbound integration? When we get the data from the third-party application to the Workday, that is inbound integration. What is the outbound integration? When we send the data from the Workday to the third-party application, that is the outbound integration. Make sense, guys? Here also, we are not writing any code unless, of course, if we want to transform the data as per the requirement of the client. but it is a very good thing if you know the basics of the XML and XSLT. And if you know the concept of how to transfer the XML into XSLT, okay, that's a good thing. If you don't know, right, always go to the Google and say like, I need to transform my XML into XSLT file. You're going to get a lot of options. So don't need to worry about the coding here. Lot of guys, lot of girls who are opting for the Workday are from the non-IT background, right? Okay, guys, please be interactive so that I know that you are following me. Okay. So guys, you understand the concept of inbound integrations, right?
Yes.
You guys understand the concept of outbound integration. That's great. Okay. Okay, you're connecting with the third-party application. You're sending the data and you're getting the data. And for that purposes, sometimes you need to, use certain things. But however, with the core connectors, Workday designed templates, a pre-designed templates to connect with most of the third-party applications. When I say that, what I meant was like, you can connect Workday with any third-party application if you have a template. And most of the third-party applications we already covered by the Workday, which means you don't have to write the code. You can select the fields. You can use the calculated fields. You can get the data, and you just send the data by using the template. Is as easy as I sound. Guys, you should have some queries. So core connectors have pre-designed or pre-defined templates to connect with the third-party applications so that you don't have to write the API. Okay, you don't write the coding. Okay, the only time you're going to write the code is when you transform the XML data into the XSLT. Okay, and those two languages are very easy to learn. How many guys are you guys are familiar with the HTML?
HTML I did long back.
But it is basic English, like, you can understand the concept, right? Within a couple of weeks or maybe a month or so, like, you understand the concepts, right, of the HTML. Am I right?
Yeah.
Same as XML and XSLT. Those are like basic languages, minimal language that you can learn, and with some practice, you can actually master those languages. Okay, guys. Those are my three sides.
Like XML for this Workday.
Sorry.
Is it mandatory to learn the XML? What you're saying, no, for the Workday? Is it mandatory?
No, guys. Don't get confused. See, it's not mandatory. However, if you are opting for the technical side, okay, if you want to be the integrations, if you want to be the integration consultant, it is a good thing if to know about the XML and XSLT, because you need to work on those transformations. You need to transform XML file into XSLT file. So for that purpose, I'm saying, like, it is not mandatory, guys. But however, if you have the knowledge, however, if you want to be the technical guy, if you want to be part of the integrations, purely integrations, okay, you should know these two languages, and it is not really hard languages. You can learn by yourself. Okay. Okay, guys. So after we cover Eibs and core connectors, we are going to cover the payroll. Okay, guys. Most of the guys ask me like, hey, why don't you just give me training on the payroll? Okay. It is like asking like, hey, why don't you just me build a third floor without worrying about the ground floor and the first and second floors? Is it possible to build the third floor by only the third floor without building the ground floor, first floor, and the second floor?
No.
Right? So for you to master any other module, you need to understand these concepts. I'm not saying you need to master, but you need to have the knowledge of these concepts. Okay? Guys, if you have any queries, please ask me, because we are going to cover all these concepts. I don't want you to to show you all these things and confuse you. But we are covering all these things. We are going to explain each and every module. Okay? For you to understand the payroll, okay, for you to understand the PCOF or PG, you need to understand the concept of integrations. For you need to understand the payroll, you need to understand the concept of the compensation. You need to understand the concept of security groups, staffing models, because you need to know the job profile, right? You need to understand the business process. Right, guys?
Yeah.
Okay, let me stop the sharing of this, okay? And I'm going to answer your queries